Live from our studios here in Kukumlimle, this is Joy News Prime. In this edition, Ghana Water to shut down operations in Galamsey endemic areas due to the increasing cost of operations. We have an extensive conversation on that, and also there's a new bombshell in the never-ending Aisha Wang saga as Deputy General Secretary of the NDC alleges she's a financier of the governing NPP.
Well, I mean, if she's not a financier of the NPP, I wonder how somebody who is supposed to have been deported and the president admitting that he has been deported, and all of a sudden the president is playing dumb and saying that he doesn't know that the woman has been deported.
We have details as he describes as shameful the attempt by some elements to roping the NDC into the scandal.
Aisha Wang came to this country. We arrested Aisha Wang, deported her, then she came back again. Then we said that we were not aware. I mean, this is ridiculous. Sometimes we shouldn't play this shameful act of equalization in such serious issues. This is a very serious matter.
Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, dismisses claims about a 30% increment in transport fares, saying it remains a proposal. We hear from the Concerned Drivers Association on this. And later, thanks for staying with us. And there's a new twist to the never-ending Galamsey Queen Aisha Wang saga. The opposition National Democratic Congress is alleging that Aisha Wang is a financier of the governing New Patriotic Party. According to Deputy General Secretary of the party, Dr. Peter Buama-Otokuno, the inability of the NPP government to take on Aisha Wang head-on and prosecute her fully shows a level of complicity. Dr. Buama-Otokuno has also berated President Akufo-Addo for saying he's unsure whether Aisha Wang was deported and the changing story of her exit from Ghana in 2018. He spoke on the sidelines of a press conference to announce the timetable to elect party executives.
Look at the crisis we are going through. We are suffering one of the worst currency challenges in the history of this country. Gold has the solution to this problem. They are not paying taxes on the Galamsey. She's smuggling the gold. She's doing all manner of things against our law. And because MPP is in government and maybe they claim she's their financier, they are defending her. And they want all of us to follow suit. I mean, all of us cannot be fools in this country. If perhaps they have been deceived by Aisha Wang because she has given them some pretenses, or because Baumia went cap in hand begging them for money and she led them to go and raise funds for their campaign. That doesn't mean that we, the citizens of this country, must sit down and allow them to rip the nation off.
Do you have any basis of this allegation that Aisha Wang is a financier of the NPP?
Oh, well, I mean, if she's not a financier of the NPP, I wonder how somebody who is supposed to have been deported and the president admitting that he has been deported, the senior minister, if you want, the prime minister, Osafo Mafo, saying that she has been deported, all of a sudden the president is playing dumb and saying that he doesn't know that the woman has been deported. And I think it's becoming one too many, and it is becoming a worrying trend. You have a certain president who always says that he's not aware of decisions that he himself has undertaken. The president has issued executive instrument and he says he is not aware. He has written letters of authority and he says he's not aware. Corruption appears under him, everybody is talking about it, he says he's not aware. Today, Aisha Wang, he's saying that he's not aware that Aisha Wang was deported. Very soon, he will say that he's not aware he's the president of this country. And I think that we should be worried, we should be concerned.
Meanwhile, the party says the government must ensure Aisha Wang is prosecuted fully according to Ghanaian laws.
And it is most bizarre and most regrettable, particularly because if you consider the kind of economic circumstances that we are going through and the fact that the gold of this country, the God-given gold of this country could be saving the economy, and you have somebody who has ripped this nation so much and is still ripping this nation, who has committed crime against the nation, committed crime against our laws, and the MPP came to tell us that that person has been deported, even against the wishes of the people of this country. We said that the person has committed crime against our laws. Let's deal with that person. You don't deport the person because the person is not a diplomat. If any diplomat comes here and messed up, because the person is a diplomat, maybe there are some bilateral, arrangements that requires you to deport the person. But this is not a diplomat. This is a private Chinese citizen who has entered our country and has messed up, gone against the law, perpetrated crime, heinous crimes, stolen our gold. You understand? And so, for such instance, you shouldn't have even deported the person in the first place. But granted, be that as it may, you have deported the person. The person has resurfaced in the country. Now it's two questions that must be answered. Aisha, one, how did she enter the country? Did she go through immigration? Did she go through the borders? And if she didn't go through the borders, if she smuggled herself through maybe Togo or Ivory Coast, how come she was able to acquire a Ghana card? How come she was able to go through the NIA to get a Ghana card? That is another criminality on its own. But what we are demanding now, after finding out that Aisha Wang is still in the country, is the proper application of the laws of this country in dealing with her. She must face the full rigors of the law. I have heard commentary from MPP operatives and the lawyers defending her that she has, this one is no matter and we are just blowing it out of proportion. Who is blowing what out of proportion?
Well, since the re-emergence of Aisha Wang, there have been reports that she allegedly engaged in the Galamsey menace, even under the previous NDC government. But Dr. Otokuno describes this as a shameful attempt to roping the NDC into the current scandal.
Something must be done. Something must be said to this government. We cannot be taking for granted this anymore. We cannot. So Aisha Wang came to this country. We arrested Aisha Wang, deported her. Then she came back again. Then we said that we were not aware. I mean, this is ridiculous. Sometimes we shouldn't play this shameful act of equalization in such serious issues. This is a very serious matter. And it borders on our security. It borders on our border security. It borders on the performance of our economy. And we should be worried. And we should not, venture into this unholy realm of equalization in this matter.
Well, the party has meanwhile been announcing a roadmap to elect party executives from the constituency to the national level. Listen to General Secretary of the party, Johnson Asiedu Nketia.
We need to embark on another batch of internal elections covering about 876 separate elections, and possibly 3 more, which will make it 879 separate elections. Constituency level first. We will be opening nominations between the days of 20th and 22nd September, and the elections proper for the constituencies shall take place on the 22nd and 23rd October 2022. We will not conclude the constituency elections before we open nominations for the regional elections. The regional elections would have our nomination open on the 6th of October and 7th of October. 11th November 2022 will be reserved for the regional youth and women conferences. And then the actual regional elections will happen on the 12th and 13th of November. Saturday, 10th of December 2022 is reserved for the youth and women conferences.
Let me take you back to issues about illegal mining and its impact on our water bodies. The Ghana Water Company has threatened to shut down operations in Galamsey areas due to the cost of operations. According to them, the cost of purifying water in these areas continues to increase astronomically. Now, behind me, I'm sure you can see an image of the River of Wang in all its glory. Credit to TripAdvisor, that's how it used to be. A clear water body that served as a source of drinking water and food for the people who used to fish in it. But today, it doesn't look like that's the situation. I'll be going to the screen to give you the details of that in terms of what it looks like today. You've seen what it looks like before. This is a River of Wang on your screen. But today, Let's look at the satellite image. This is a Google image that we have on the screen now. I'll be taking you to it. Now take a look at it. This is what River Offing now looks like. Well, this is the map itself. You see where River Offing runs through from this. Now I'll give you the satellite image, and this is what it looks like now. That's a River Offing. I'll get to it. That's the satellite image. And look at it. All that you see in terms of the creaminess, that's River Offing now, as it looks like. But earlier, you saw it on your screen, and you saw that it was actually clear. But now, this is what it looks like. You see like a chocolate drink, and that's the status of River Offing, with the high turbidity levels, amongst others, raising concerns for the Ghana Water Company. So these are the images that we've seen so far in terms of the River Offing. Well, I'll get to Zoom shortly, and then we'll get to interact with the Ghana Water Company Limited on what exactly their concerns are when it comes to the situation so far. So we've seen River Offing then and River Offing now, and this is raising concerns for water production when it comes to the Ghana Water Company Limited. We know that they have concerns about it. So from this image, do you think that the plan by Ghana Water Company Limited is justified? Recently, we brought you a report on pollution of the Offin River by illegal miners, where change fund operations and activities sit directly on the river at Atwimamponua and the borders of Mankraso in the Ashanti region. Even after recent arrests by Joint Police and Immigration Team, a visit to portions of the water source reveals active pollution of the Offin River. Now watch this report by Rasa Sasari Donko, then we'll get to speak to the Ghana Water Company.
Over 2,000. This video showing a number of water polluting mining equipment operating on the Offin centers on a fact-finding mission. We found the location at Abompe, a small village in the Atwimamponua district of Ashanti. Despite a security operation here, a bird's-eye view revealed a number of Shangfan operators working with impunity directly in the river at various portions of the highly polluted resource. So this is the Offin River. And it will shock you to know that this used to be very, very clean. But now, as in this bottle, you could see the color of the river. Residents like Abeliko Kwame, a farmer at Abesua, are directly affected by the pollution of the river. He tells me they've arrested the illegal miners many times, but did not receive the support of local leaders. We asked for reinforcement from local leaders, the assembly member and the unit committee members before the operation, but they didn't mind us. After we drove them out of Abumpi, Intabanu and other villages, we reported to the DCE of Mankraso and police commander, but they did not assist us. Now they are back, working actively at Abesua number 1 and 2 and Abumpe number 1 and 2. At Kojo Krum, some of the miners polluting the river escaped into the Offin at the site of our team.
That's Irasa Sasari Donko's report earlier. Now let's take a look at the turbidity level of some water sources before we interact with the Ghana Water Company on its concerns that they've raised, especially about the Offin River. We know that so far there are some concerns that have been raised. I'll take a look at 2019, for instance, in terms of what water bodies look like and the concerns that have been raised. We'll take a look at it once those slides are ready. So, situation in 2019, for instance, at the height of the Galamsey in 2017, the turbidity of water in the Birim River was about 11,000 NTU, and the NTU is the nephelometric turbidity unit and of these water bodies, and that's against the massively improved level of 50 NTU. So this is the situation in 2019. Now it continues with treatment plants in Konongo, Chebi, Bonso, and Yeninem, which were among those heavily affected, were all back in operation. 2019 is what we are talking about now. Now we move on. The situation before the 2020 election. Bunsu water treatment plant was shut down intermittently over high levels of raw water turbidity, and that's in 2020. That's before election 2020. That was the situation with these treatment plants. Then the situation before 2020, will stay on it. The turbidity was as high as 8,000 NTU as compared to the normal 3,000 NTU indicated by the Ghana Water Company. So this is our situation in terms of some of the water bodies and its impact on the operation of the Ghana Water Company Limited. Let me then bring in the communications manager but I'm sure we have the last situation. Then we can go on to the phone lines. We have the last situation. So that's about it with the situation when it comes to what we know. Let me bring in the communications manager for the Ghana Water Company Limited, Mr. Stanley Mate, joins us via phone. We are grateful for your time here on Joy News Prime. So first off, what really is the challenge? We are told about a threat to shut down some treatment plants due to these high turbidity levels and the impact of illegal mining on your operations.
Yeah, thank you, Emefa. I think this is a situation that we've been talking about for the past 15 to 20 years. Okay, and now what we realize is that, or what is happening is that the prices of chemicals on the capital market or on the global market is going high. Okay, and now we have the cedi also depreciating against the dollar. Okay, and then we have had to use more chemicals than hitherto would have used for like a certain volume of water. So it is making cost of production high by the day. Now, the pollution of our river body is really having a toll on the operations of the GWCL because we are spending too much and we are not even breaking even because of the low tariff. So if we do not put an end to the pollution of our river bodies, it's going to really affect us. And the way the situation is now, if we are not careful, we'll be shutting down more of our treatment plants, especially because the turbidity keeps increasing. Now, the normal color or turbidity for any raw material, any raw water should be between 0 and 5 NT. Now we are exceeding 6,000, we are exceeding 8,000. You can just imagine the quantity of chemicals that we use to clear this water. And if we get to a certain limit, even any quantity of chemical that we use may not be able to treat the water. Okay, which means that we'll render the water untreatable and we'll have to shut down the treatment plant. We have seen this over and over and over again, and it's still increasing. So we really need to step up our game in stopping the pollution of our river bodies, or we have to shut down most of.
And that's a conversation that continues, Mr. Mate. But at the last count, for instance, how many treatment plants are you hoping that you shut down, and how many communities are likely to be affected by this plan, if should it go through?
Now, every treatment plant of ours serves several communities and not just a community. So, for instance, in Accra, we have 3 treatment plants that serve the entire region. Okay, in Ashanti region, we have 2 treatment plants that serve the 3 treatment plants that serve the entire region. So, even if one of the treatment plants should go off, it means that more than 30 or 40% of the population will be without water. If two treatment plants is to go off, then it means it will go beyond 60% of the population. And it is so throughout the country. Now, in the Western region, for instance, it is the water treatment plant on the Pra, which serves the entire Takoradi community. So if that one goes off, it means the whole of Takoradi will be without water. Takwa is served by the treatment plant on the Bonsa River. Now, if that also goes off, then it means that the whole of Takwa will be without water. But that's what in the Ashanti region, okay, serves the entire Boasi region. Now we are only serving about 30% of the Boasi community because we use about 50 to 60% of the water that we produce from the Daso treatment plant. Okay, so it is not just about one community, but that the industrial treatment plant serves, then you can imagine the population that is not being served.
Well, I hope that you would be able to reposition yourself properly so we can hear you well. But I would want to find out the timelines that we've given ourselves in terms of if the situation does not change. You've talked about 3 plants in Accra, 2 in the Ashanti region, giving us the number of treatment plants and the dangers that they are faced with. Do we have a timelines in terms of what you're working with? If the situation does not change, you will shut down.
Emefa, it is very difficult for me to give you timeline. But if we wake up tomorrow and the stability is beyond a certain limit, we'll shut down tomorrow. If the stability improves, if the raw water quality improves, we'll keep producing. Okay, so anything at all can happen at any time. So if I give timelines now and the water keeps deteriorating, we may not get to that time. So I think it will not be appropriate for me to say maybe from tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or maybe next year or next 2 years. But research has shown that if the rate of pollution should continue the way it is, between 2025 and 2030, most of our river bodies will go extinct. Our treatment plants will be there, and there wouldn't be water to treat. And even if there's water, then the water will be rendered untreatable. So then our treatment plants will be white elephants.
Is it the case that, I'm sure that the Water Company Limited is not working in isolation on this, but is it the case that all the raft of measures that have been put in place to end this illegal mining and its impact on our water bodies is not working?
I think we have seen the minister and deputy minister in charge of land, the minister, our sector minister, Honorable Cecilia Dapa, and then other ministers all go around to as it were, educate people or talk to people about the impact of the Galam State. So it's like there are lots of people who are aware of this, and I think the entire nation is aware because even the president is talking about it every time. So everybody, it's a bit difficult for me to say, but at least for what I know, we are doing our best, but it's like our best is not yielding the desired results.
We're grateful. We'll leave it here. That's Mr. Stanley Marty, Communications Manager of the Ghana Water Company Limited. Hopefully, the situation improves that they may not have to shut down any treatment plant in these communities. Let me bring in the Small Scale Miners Association. We have the General Secretary joining us via Zoom. Mr. Godwin Ama, we're grateful for your time this evening. So what do we choose, gold or water? You'd have to unmute, Mr. Ama. Okay, it appears that the connection to Mr. Ama is simply not working just yet, but we'll try and reach him because they are key in this sector. They are the key stakeholders, and we need to know what exactly the measures they are also putting in place to help this fight against illegal mining and its impact on our water bodies. Because as it stands now, there could be a major threat to treatment of water in this country. And the Ghana Water Company Limited, as we've heard them, they may have to shut down treatment plants in some communities, and a number of communities will be affected as a result. Mr. Ama, let's join you now via phone, and thank you once again. I was asking earlier what we choose because you are key stakeholders. We've heard Water Company Limited, the concerns they've raised. Water is important, and so I ask you whether you would choose gold over water.
Okay, thank you and good evening. I would say I would choose gold. Because we need water. Water is life. And we also need the gold in terms of creating job opportunities for our people and also to ensure that the country also benefits from gold economically. We need gold for so many things. For us to use our mobile phones, we need gold. In the medical fields, we need gold for some equipment. Even to use aviation, we still need gold. And we also use gold to back our currencies. So all is very important. And
but I've never heard the saying that gold is life. I've heard water is life. What exactly are we doing about this situation? Because we face a potential threat of shutdown of treatment plants in these areas. You also need water. We need water as much as we need the gold, like you've said. Are there measures, concrete measures, as a key stakeholder, you're putting in place to stop this situation?
as I speak to you now, we have our boats as an association with our task force around Mankraso area on the River of Fin for the past week with some of the district assemblies. So far, we've been able to get about 400 of the chamfans from the river bodies. What I would say is that most of the communities are harboring these people. We have Odikrus, we have chiefs, we have elders in these communities. And they allow them to stay in their community and pollute their water. So it's a shared responsibility because we all need water. We need water for our daily chores. We need water for our farms. And we need water to also drink and use them to cook and all that. The miners themselves, if we have high turbidity levels, we can't even produce our gold properly. Because if the turbidity level is so high, you will not be able to recover the gold. And the amount of money you put into your operations, at the end of the day, you don't make anything out of it. That is why we all need to work together and ensure that people don't pollute our water bodies. These are all illegal operators who are operating on the river bodies. Number two, the equipment that are being used and its manufacturing, as the law says, if you see someone transporting these dredges and all that, they should be arrested and then this equipment should be seized. So the issue of enforcement is also a challenge. The issue of enforcement of our laws is also a challenge. But I'm happy that the government so far brought in some speedboats. We have the Ghana Navy, and they are patrolling some of these the rivers in the country. We as an association are also collaborating with them to ensure that, because now we've got outboard motors, we've got some boats, and we are patrolling some of these rivers. I was around the Kumensa area today, which I saw some of the river, the upstream of Fin. That side is so clear, but we just drove 15 to 20 minutes, and it's so wet downstream. So the activities of these illegal dredges are so much. And as I've said, we are going to work closely with the district assemblies and then the security service to ensure that these people, we take them off. Some of the laws also that for me, with the chamfa importation, government should also look at it. Because if you are able to take the chamfa off, and we are able to take the gravel structures off, at the end of the day, we'll be able to reduce the number of boats there. So if the importation of this chamfa equipment will be reduced, or there will be a system where you bring the chamfa equipment into the country, it will be stored somewhere. Then at the end of the day, if you want to use it for any other, because it's something that you can use it for so many things. The engine can be used to generate light and all that. So if it's in a warehouse, then you go in and buy, and we know where you are taking it. It will reduce people from using it. We should find a way of reducing this equipment
put forward
coming into the country.
Are these suggestions that you've put forward to the task force, the operation teams, amongst others, and how come it's not being implemented?
No, these are things that we propose. For example, the transportation, manufacturing, and use of chamfa has been criminalized now. If you look at the Minerals Amendment, anyone who transports it and all that, we suggested, and then it has been accepted. It has passed in Parliament and all that. But its enforcement is where we have a challenge. And I said this is a shared responsibility for all of us. Because if you're in the community and you rent you give these people accommodation, some chiefs are taking money from them. Some police will go there. Police officers will go in, and what they care for is just taking money from these people and then encouraging them to apply their trade on the river body. We should know that it will affect us all. It will affect everybody in this country.
And it's already affecting us, at least. We've seen the impact. Godwin, we are grateful. That's Godwin Ama, General Secretary, the Small Scale Miners Association. This is Joy News Prime. Still to come, commuters and residents along the Ashaiman Afienya Highway are growing impatient over the neglect of the road, even after the president promised to convert it into an ultra-modern road in 2020.
And he'll come and ask you to go and pay road worthiness. What does it mean when the road itself is not worthy?
So you should pay for Menkase Palo Godia. Ever seen? Esa papa, esa basa. Kochi, because your purpose, it has purpose more.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us here on the Joy News Prime. Now, private security men in the Wang municipality say their lives are in danger following the suspected murder of 6 of their colleagues in the last 5 months alone. 2 others have also been declared missing in the past 2 months, and 1 was attacked with a cement block thrown at him. He is now partially blind. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
A 10-minute drive from the Upper West Region's Police Command headquarters on West Southwest lies Child Support Ghana. It is here that 60-year-old father of 6, Abu Ibrahim, was nearly murdered.
He was lying on this bench when the unknown assailants pop up from nowhere and then threw this heavy cemented block on him.
Exactly 1:30. I heard a noise outside, so I rushed out and was going towards the gate. While I heard noise inside the summer hut, so I rushed there and saw a watchman lying. When I just turned, and then somebody got up from where the watchman is lying and was running towards this place. He jumped through the wall.
I got up, I didn't cooperate, I just took my vehicle. I rest there. Upon hearing my car sound, they quickly jumped over the wall. And I called my patrolmen. They give them a hot chase. And like the media man rally said, they were heading towards the same direction, Nakwara Road. We pursued them until they entered into a bush, put off their motor light. We combed the whole bush. We could not find them. And that came how I managed to save the life of the security man.
He is currently receiving treatment at the General Surgery Unit of the Upper West Regional Hospital. He said he has little to say about the incident as he only lied on the bench and only woke up at the hospital. Head of Department of Surgery at the hospital, Dr. Abdul Latif Seba, is attending to him.
He's currently stable, however, is unable to see with that eye, the left eye, but we are trying to see how best we can help his situation.
Meanwhile, the Upper West Region Police Command this afternoon held a closed-door meeting with proprietors of private schools, owners of fuel stations, and some private individuals who employ the services of private security to deliberate on the current security situation.
It is a worry, not to me alone, but to the security personnel in the region, and for that matter, to the indigenes, because you yourself standing here, you are worried. Why are you not worried? The one now himself is worried. And so this is a step in the right direction for us to come together, Jojo, and find an antidote to that issue.
6 private security men have been allegedly murdered in the last 5 months. 2 persons have also been reported missing by the police.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Well, we'll go on to some other stories now, and commuters and residents along the Ashaman-Afienya Highway are growing impatient over the quick deterioration of the road. The president in November 2020 promised to convert the road into an ultramodern highway in 30 months, but 20 months later, the project is yet to start. The residents are calling on the president to honor his promise made to them. Michael Ashali has more in the following report.
The Ashaiman-Gbechile Road spans nearly 10 kilometers. It connects the Tema Harbour to the Eastern and Volta regions. The 10-kilometer road is riddled with potholes. This road is where shock absorbers to vehicles come to die.
And travel up to this distance. Once it's coming and it's bobbing, you are hitting your head against the car, the glass, and hitting against somebody. Somewhere along the line, you get into a pothole and you can feel it in your waist. It's not the best. We are all Ghanaians, and I think that they need to do something about it.
73-year-old Kweku Sirebo has been using this road for years. He is so used to the road that he has even committed the potholes on the stretch to memory. But over the years, the road has deteriorated further, making it impossible for him to dodge the dips.
I knew it in the first time. It was very rough. And people were using bent bricks to fill the potholes here until they decided to come and make it a road.
His vehicle could not further withstand the terrible nature of the road, so it has been parked at the mechanic shop. Now, he uses taxis for his daily commute.
My vehicle on road, I would have blocked the road and stopped every vehicle from moving. It is very bad. They make us look as if we are not Ghanaians. You can't even use your car on the road. You will spoil your shocks, your spring and everything, and they'll come and ask you to go and pay roadworthiness. What does it mean when the road itself is not worthy?
Kweku is pained because President Akufo-Addo promised in October 2020 that the road will be repaired in 30 months. He was addressing excited supporters as part of his 2020 election campaign. He promised that funding of 256 million euros had been secured for construction of the road. The project involves the construction of a two-tier dual carriageway and two-lane services roads from Ashaiman to Sebripo. Additionally, there will be a two-lane dual carriageway from Sebripo to Afienya, a two-lane dual carriageway from Afienya to Gbon, and two-lane single carriageway from Gbon to Atimpoku. The road should be completed by April 2023, but 22 months after that, the road has almost been rendered unmotorable. Drivers and commuters are unhappy.
Every 3 days, I was in the shop. Yes, every 3 days, I was in the shop.
What you saw? Actually, ube a problem or car ase. Intino, nyama ye be the debia ye watching.
The parts of the road around Tulaku are not tarred. The roads are so bad, the vehicles rhythmically move after slumping in and out of potholes. Even passengers with no rhythm dance to the tune of the road.
Esa rough, esa pass, o you should pay for menka se palo go die, ebe sino. Esa papa, esa basa, esa rough. Kochi, because your purpose, your test purpose more. Who test purpose in there, both your entire road in there, a channel say. Yes, Rabbi, or ye Jumamo, no, I'm an Imbra, yeah, a Shama Tulakua, a Quino, Wang.
These unnatural acoustics come at a cost to the drivers. Resident engineer for the project, Engineer Kwabena Bempon with Associated Consultants Limited says, although the president cut the sword for construction to commence, the funding was not ready.
They had a little bit of some challenges. They had some challenges with the financing arrangement. So this was resolved a few months ago, probably 4, 5, 6 months ago. The contractor has just submitted his draft final design report and drawings, which we are reviewing.
Engineer Bempon says the Lands Commission has also not completed valuation of the affected entities.
With the valuation, sometimes there's a lot of delay, and in our case, we've suffered, quite. The money is there. All we are waiting for is to be given the green lights, from the Lands Valuation Department or Division of the Lands Commission.
So, when will works actually begin?
Circa September, November, October, at least before the end of this year.
At Bechile, the situation is no different. Adam Abdul Jalil is a motorcycle rider.
Master, the road there is too bad. The road, we can't stand the road, not even 1 second. You see here, it's even better. Go inside down there, then you see. Even motor rider, we are suffering. Not to talk of 4-tie. Hey! I cry for these Okada people because every day if they do the road, one passenger if they go come, they complain. We pray and they cry for the government should come and save us. You see, every place, you see here, then here, then other place, we make thank God. We thank God for that place too. But you see, after, even they do some quota there, if you pass through, even if they stop doing the quota, it will be better. because the portals for there is not very allowable. It's very stranded.
The dream to construct a top-tier express trans-West African road for the people is yet to materialize. But the people are wondering why the president will cut short for construction to begin when the fund was not yet available. For Joy News, Michael Ashali.
Now, we'll stay on the road a while longer because the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, has dismissed claims suggesting a 30% increment in transport fares. According to the union, the set percentage is a proposed upward adjustment awaiting government's approval. On Wednesday, we know that the GPRTU issued a statement indicating its decision to increase the transport fares by 30% effective September 21. But there's been a clarification. Let me bring in the communications team, a member, Samuel Amwa, joining us via Zoom. Thank you very much for joining us. So how do we get a communication that we're going to get an increment on the 21st, and then later we're told that it's just a proposal, is not taking effect? What exactly is the communication?
Thank you very much. Let me say good evening to your cherished viewers. What is happening is, yes, it's true, there is going to be an upward adjustment of our transport fares. And we've written a proposal to the Transport Ministry, waiting for them to give us a call. So that we can go and then negotiate before we come out with a final, decision that we've taken. Yes, our proposal is 30%. The reason why we were proposing the 30% is mainly because of where the petroleum product is now. By the time we had our 20% increment, that was way back May, the diesel price was about 11.27 cedis per liter. And the petrol too was around 10.20. Now that we are talking now, the diesel is somewhere around 14.5 and the petrol is also hitting 12 cedis per liter. Checking on the whole thing, it has been increased almost about 30%. And that is not the only component we use to run our business. We use spare parts, we use lubricant taxes, and then spare parts, lubricant taxes, then there's some other component that we use. All these.
Of course, you mentioned all the components. So until when does it remain a proposal? No longer taking effect on the 21st?
Yes, our expectation is that we give a deadline. We were, looking up to by 21st, that before the 21st, we have to meet the Transport Ministry. Then we have a negotiation, then before we can come out. Some time ago, we wrote to them. The letter lied on their table for about 2 months, and they were not minding us. That is why this time around we gave the 21st. That by 21st, at least, they have to call us to a meeting. Then we all agree before we come out.
So at what stage is the proposal then? Since you put it out, you've given timelines, and when you're hoping it takes effect, have you started negotiations on it?
Come again, please.
I'm asking whether negotiations have started on it. You mentioned that it's a proposal. You're waiting for them to, talk to you. Which stage are we? Has the talks begun?
Yeah. Now, what is happening is, yes, we are targeting 30%, and then we are waiting for the ministry to give us a call. Up to maybe Monday or Tuesday, there should be a final decision. Before the 21st, that will be the Wednesday. So, yes, our clients should just look forward for an upward adjustment of transport fares. Our target is 30%, but after the negotiation, I think maybe there can be some difference, but it won't come down below 25%. For that one, I can say.
Okay. Mr. Amwa, thank you so much for joining us. He's a member of the communications team of the GPRTU, and they are hoping to increase transport fares by between 20 to 25% effective Wednesday, 21st. We're yet to hear from government on this, but as and when we do, we'll let you know. But let me take you to Techiman briefly, and members of the Techiman Market Drivers Association are appealing to government to help check the incessant hikes in fuel prices at the pumps. They say the situation, coupled with the hikes in the cost of spare parts, is crippling the transportation trade. Anas Sabit has more.
Fuel prices have risen sharply over the past few months as oil marketing companies pass the effect of a surge in global crude oil prices onto its customers through back-to-back price hikes. This rise in fuel prices has thrown household budgets out of order, and some members of the Techiman Market Drivers Association are expressing worry about the effects of the situation on their businesses. Oluman Gerba, popularly known as Opoman, is the secretary of the association.
Fuel price is the master yankan. Because Uber will do in and out to Wakonyeska 12,000. Uber says diesel and auto diesel almost 9,000. Sanoba bete commission what train will do. So wafa driver na otua ne car saying obey at the end of the day ne saying obey. So ntino aho kire asefem so nti aban no omoy ho pa.
Since fuel is used for the transportation of most goods across the country, the sharp rise in prices is creeping into the cost of other commodities, including spare parts. This, according to them, is slowly crippling the transportation trade.
This is spare parts bono, yentiminto, diesel ekosoro, tie ekosoro, spare parts ekosoro. Ni nyina ekotia ye kokwan so bana say bi ho kora udiskan breaker ro kwa hwe one ne beko. Obaka say wa disika, you say bi ana entisa. Tesrempoinfo ya dauruma. Se say bi ka ho ne ma bibia boye den. Hwe oil ya sisa say first ne say okosisa o car oil. Yeah, the man diesel na the car kesi. Ya bo ho ka 600 cedis. They say before say Messi me oil we na me 1,500, which is very bad. The best buy no. So when you be found.
Others are also concerned about what they go through on the various highways with regards to the weighing of their vehicles.
Same problem skin is say. Skin na nyama na ya fa no dwumra no. You need tonnage. Say bia wo fa a kilo say ni bi. But all the time bia e be fa nyama na e be fire be do skin so no. You need problem of skin so. Me skin bi achi me pe last month. Me duru me nyama 100 bas. Me duru ho no na yesi ma bro so. 3 point something tons. You give me 1,000. 1,000 so no. Utia no before answer the car na dey akọ. Utia 1,000 na adwuna answer me dey car na dey ekọ. Nti kiase be slaban say skin no kan e follow car food no. Obeyi afiri mama e. Obeyi afiri mama e.
These are the views of some members of the Techiman Market Drivers Association sharing their concerns about the difficulties they go through in line of work. They are calling on city authorities, particularly the Techiman Municipal Assembly, to intervene to ensure that their work is enhanced here at the Techiman Central Market. My name is Anna Sabit, reporting for Joy News.
And traders at the Techiman Central Market in the Bono East region have also expressed worry over the poor situation in the market. The situation, according to the traders, had been persistent over the years and had created a lot of inconvenience for them as well as buyers. They want the assembly to intervene swiftly by ensuring that the abandoned refuse is evacuated to avert possible outbreak of diseases in the area. And I stab it once again.
Waste management has over the years been a major concern for traders here at the Techiman Central Market. The inability of market authorities to evacuate refuse from this site on time continuously expose traders who sell close to this side of the market to serious health risks.
And it is one a busso, a mobile member shegu, a mobile shegu, just a maye who cram a my sister, and I'm a yale serious, no cotuto. Yabas about 200 a lot of friends in Yashi. No, Baba Nawasa, fire like what's Nefia. I asked some Nabola, you dear, quite a queer Haseno. Yabanan, you talk right and timidity. Yentimin, and 2 9 and I could run a single Hase, Yababe Diega, Metanaburaha by what I say. Yaho chiri ya wa papa yaho chiri mo be hwa kora be ya mo nwa kora be ya masefem e fer kora tantachment apa na apuru sei enti ya ha wa ya so no no me ba hwa bola no mene yen enso to a ehu ba bi kwa ye fa enso no tena bola no enso no tena bola na tene afa ye enso yehu ba bi ya konti yesre mpanyimfo so mpanyimfo no mo mwaye bola ya ti wudi en kwaye ma tachima adwa ye ti hu bola yi ye fre kura se ba ye nya ba bi kura ntena Bola yaji Techiman hanyina abaso yate wa be hansi sa yewu
The stench from this end of the market, especially whenever it rains, is another worrying development. Mami Agnes Nyaku sells cassava here. They say despite the neglect by city authorities, they continuously pay tolls to the municipal assembly.
So these traders are appealing to authorities to come to their aid by evacuating this refugee site. My name is Anna Sabit, reporting for Joy News.
And from the Bono East region, that's how we wrap up tonight's edition of Joy News Prime with me, Emefa Apawu. Log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good evening.